What is up, everybody? Hopefully, you're doing well. We are here to talk about the San Diego Comic Con trailer for Rings of Power. It's almost here, end of August. Chris and I will be doing a rewatch of season one in preparation of season two. And as we did with season one, I will be reviewing the episodes in two different formats. One format is my perspective as a reader and lover of Tolkien and things that I noticed that are different from the books and critiques along the way, but then also from my wife's perspective, who is someone who has never read the books and has a love of Tolkien because of Peter Jackson's films. And I think that that's something very important to understand. It's a great conversation. I've seen great talking points from Brandon Sanderson on appreciating adaptations. Raymond Feist has some good commentary on it. But essentially, the one thing that everyone should be celebrating is the fact that we're getting more Middle Earth in our lives, more Tolkien, more Lord of the Rings, and that's never a bad thing. Even when we have points where we might disagree on something, um, there's still a discussion happening around Tolkien and around Middle Earth. And shows like Rings of Power, even though they might be an adaptation that doesn't cover things completely by the book, it's still an adaptation that is bringing Tolkien to a world of people who have never read Tolkien before. My wife is a perfect example of that. She is a Jackson era Tolkien fan who has never read the books. She started to read The Hobbit, and then we just got busy with the move, and she never went back to it. But her love of Tolkien comes from something she saw on the screen. We have people now whose love of Tolkien is coming from things they've seen on the screen from the Amazon show. All of those, those two people, those two groups of people are no different than you or I. They're people who love Tolkien and love Middle Earth, and that's something that should be celebrated at the end of the day. So I would like to urge people as I move forward into this video and the coverage that's going to be coming beyond this as well, leading up to season two, know that as a Tolkien reader, just as much as I was critical of elements during the production of season one and through the viewing of season one, I will also be critical of it here in season two. But I also have a loved one in my life, my wife, my partner, who is loving the show. From the perspective as someone who has never read the books. And I'm not going to take that away from her just because I might want to critique some little things here and there. So, with that being said, I'm now instilling a new rule on my channel here, which is that discourse is great, conversations are great, but outright hatred against Amazon, outright hatred of the showrunners, outright hate or hatred of season two or season one, outright hatred of Rings of Power in general, just because you don't like the adaptation, will not be tolerated on my channel. I will be hiding those users from the channel, which means you can scream into the void all you want. Your best option is just leave your dislike and move on about your day. That way you don't see future coverage from me on the topic. But if you're here to celebrate Rings of Power and you want to watch it with someone like me who's getting two perspectives of it. One is a Tolkien reader who's like going, that's not, wait a second, what'd you do there? And then my wife who's like, woohoo, more Tolkien. Stick around, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We'll have lots more coverage as we rewatch season one and we get into season two. Who knows? I might continue reading the Silmarillion again as part of the Mondays in Middle Earth show. You never know. But let's talk season two San Diego Comic Con trailer, which honestly, Chris has not watched it yet. I sent her to do it at like 4 o'clock this morning on through Facebook. Um, I was like, here, you got to watch this. So I'm waiting for her to wake up and give me her opinion. But I watched this trailer and went, ooh, this looks good. I did not have the cringe reaction to this trailer that I had during the Super Bowl trailer that we all saw a couple years back. I watched this and went, we've got rings, we've got Sauron, a known element, we've got Ents show up in this trailer, we've got all the elements of the Tolkien story are at play here. And they have said that this season is going to be more grounded in the book version of Middle Earth than the first season, where they were sort of taking some excessive liberties, I would say, with some elements of the storytelling. I'm still not over the Mithril storyline, and I never will be. I think that's one of the stupidest things ever. But I also have the same opinion of George Lucas introducing midichlorians to the Force. I always felt like I was like, George, no, why? You took it from being something mystical and cool and made it into it's based on your blood. And it was like, I was still to this day, I love George Lucas and I love Star Wars for life. But that moment always made me go, why? And in that case, it's a thing where we can look at it and go, well, it was the creator who did it. And so you kind of have to roll with it because it's canon because it's the creator. In this case, we can look at it, shake our heads, and go, "This isn't canon. This is an adaptation. They're making, they're having some creative liberties with things. That's fine. I'll roll with it." Um, anyway, there are definitely things in here. Like we have Tom Bombadil, which is his first time as an on-screen character. We see him, we hear him, we get to see him having a conversation with our potentially Gandalf character, who's off with the Harfoot girls exploring Rune, as I remember correctly. Um, there were so many cool elements in this trailer. I honestly watched this trailer and came away going, I'm actually kind of excited for season two. I know that I will have things that I dislike from the lore perspective, but I think the blessing for me is because I'm watching it alongside my wife, and so I'm like paying attention to her as we're watching and seeing her emotional reaction to things. And as she's having genuine excitement over things, it's hard for me to be too upset because I can see that they've done an admirable job of creating entertaining television, even if I might not necessarily think that it's all lore appropriate. And that's something you can't take away from good television. So I watched this trailer, and honestly, my initial reaction was, I'm kind of excited. Like, I question what they're going to do with Tom Bombadil, just like every other person does. But you know what? He's never been done on screen before, and Tolkien didn't write a lot of information about him as a character. So they kind of have the leeway to take a lot of creative liberties here with it. And I'm along for that ride. It's going to be very interesting to see where it goes. Um, I did feel there was at least the trailer. It kind of felt like they were being a little heavy-handed with the whole Elrond like having the foresight and of like, Galadriel, don't put on the ring. You don't know what he's done to corrupt them. You don't know that what you're seeing is real. And she's talking like how she's seen these visions and she's seen a way to beat Sauron through the power of the ring, and she feels the ring is guiding her, but Elrond is like, don't trust it. And of course we know from the books that the three rings were protected, and so ultimately, those of us who have read the books realize that there's, you know, they might take some creative liberties here to make it seem like there's a bigger threat. Um, Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand, because Sauron is a big bad threat, but at the same time, the three Elven rings were never at risk because they were protected from Sauron. So that part of it, we'll see how they go. But we do see the dwarven corruption at play. We see there's a lot of good stuff that's going to be coming this season, and I really feel like looking at the actual arrival of Sauron when he shows up in with the blaze of light and glory to Celebrimbor, and Celebrimbor is like, "Who are you?" Like in awe and shock and awe, like because he thinks it's one of the Valar, he thinks it's an angel come to save him, to give him all this knowledge and glory. And so we're gonna see his fall this season, his fall to the temptation and to the seduction of Sauron. Um, there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff happening in this season that I think is more true to the story of Sauron, Forging of the Rings, the downfall, the capture. If I had to guess, we'll probably end up with the capture of him by the end of the season. If not at the end of the season, it may be something where we're setting up season three is going to be the big battle where Sauron is captured by the end of season three. That probably makes more sense because if they're focused mostly on the forging of the rings this season, um, and the beginning of the war and then next season being the war and the capture of, I could see that making more sense. I don't know. We don't know what's coming in season 2 yet, but the trailer looked really good. I have not really anything bad to say about this trailer. Um, Other than, it felt like some of the story notes are a little heavy-handed with the characters kind of having that foresight and predicting things that they might not necessarily have known otherwise. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. But I have to say that compared to the first season, where I was sort of going into the first season kind of not dreading, but definitely trepidatious and nervous about what I was going to be seeing. This season, I'm going into it going, I've actually liked what I've seen so far, and I'm actually genuinely looking forward to it with, I don't want to say excitement, but hope would be a better word. Like, I'm hoping it's going to be better. It looks like it's potentially going to be better, and that's generating some low level, let's call it excitement. There's nothing wrong with saying that, there's a little bit of excitement in me. The little kid inside of me, the 5-year-old kid who read The Hobbit for the first time, is going, ooh. Because that's something else to think about. When I first read The Hobbit at 5 years old and reading The Lord of the Rings at 7, my interpretation of things then was much different than my interpretation at 12 years old, then again at 18, then again at 25, then again at 30, then again at 40, and then again now as I close in on 45 years old. I continually find my interpretation, adapting based on rereads and world perspective, life perspective. And that's the beauty of Tolkien, is that it can be many things for many people. So regardless of your feelings about Rings of Power, as we get closer to season 2, let's celebrate the fact that we're getting more Middle Earth in our lives and look forward to seeing what's to come, and hope that it's going to be way better than season 1, because season 1 had its ups and downs. I think that season 2 could be a lot better if they've paid attention to feedback. They might have, compared to the first season, based on some of the things I've seen so far. It's going to be interesting. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Daily streams here on the channel and over on Twitch, usually around 11 a.m. And lots more Rings of Power coverage as we get closer to the season. See you guys then. Cheers.